Hello and welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. On this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy and governance. I'm Hamza Idris. Thank you for joining us. Naira, which is Nigeria's official currency, is today exchanging the dollar officially at 1,499. 1 naira lower than its 1,500 rate at the parallel market. The same currency was exchanging the US dollar at 460 in May 2023, when the previous administration was applying some level of intervention to keep the Naira at a controllable limit. However, the Tinubu administration removed such intervention and allowed the Naira to float, and instead began the implementation of subsidy removal and unification of the forex market without recourse to the far-reaching implications on the economy. Since then, Nigeria's currency has been witnessing free fall in the volatile forex market, struggling against the dollar, euro, pound sterling, among others, while Nigeria's authorities apply various measures to halt the trend that is eroding citizens' purchasing power. It is against this backdrop we will be engaging Kabiru Alhaji Ameroni, a fellow of the Chartered Association of Certified Accountants of England and Wales and former resident electoral commissioner of INEC in Abuja and Niger State. He wrote an article which we published in today's edition of Daily Trust, where he suggested some key steps to improve and protect the value of the Naira. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And we're happy having
for
you.
Having me. Thank you for having me.
But before we engage in the conversation, here are some tidbits. The organized labor, manufacturers, and economic and financial and legal experts have warned the federal government not to remove electricity subsidy as canvassed by the International Monetary Fund. This is coming at a time when the country is battling with a cost of living crisis brought on by the removal of fuel subsidy on the advice of the IMF and the World Bank, among others. Meanwhile, the federal government yesterday declared staff of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Odo Ocheme, and two other persons wanted for allegedly forging the signature of former President Muhammadu Buhari to steal $6.2 million cash from the Apex Bank. In a letter addressed to the Assistant Inspector General of Police by Office of the CBN Special Investigator, Ocheme, alongside one Adamu Abubakar and Imam Abubakar, were accused of conspiring and forging documents in the name of Buhari to steal $6,230,000 from the coffers of CBN. I get a pardon, $6,230,000. And as Nigeria grapples with rising demand for food, leading to devastating hunger in the country, the federal government is set to release and distribute 42,000 metric tons of rice to the needy free of charge, with a view to providing access to food and crush the rising cost of food items in the markets. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kari, said this on the sidelines of the maiden edition of ministerial briefings by the President Bola Tinubu administration through the Ministry of Information and National Orientation in Abuja, rolling out immediate, mid, and long-term measures to address the level of food insecurity which led to protests in some states. The minister attributed the challenge to deficit in production arising from factors such as the Naira redesign policy, which prevented farmers from accessing credit, impact of COVID-19 pandemic, flooding, among others. The minister said as long-term measure to guarantee food security in the country, the federal government will provide % fertilizer subsidy to farmers, facilitate through public-private partnership, supply of tractors and services, in addition to enhancing agricultural yield to meet growing demands. We'll now take a short break, and when we return, the conversation commences. Don't go away. Welcome back, yes. Labo, you're welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well. Thank you. You have seen our tidbits. Almost 3 of them. All of them compelling issues. Maybe I should have your take on removal of subsidy on electricity. Is that the way to go?
Well, at this moment, no.
Okay, you are
because
against it.
yes, because you see, unfortunately, if you look at it, no country survives as a nation without subsidy of one kind or another.
No country.
No country.
No matter how rich.
No matter how rich. Check any of the developed countries or developing countries, there are many kind of subsidies, ranging from industrial subsidy, agricultural subsidy, as is run in most of the European countries, such as Britain, such as Denmark, such as Switzerland. They all provide subsidy to their farmers in order to continue production. Even the US pays a certain amount of dollar for every head of cow that farmers maintain in their farm, for them to be able to continue with supply of milk, cheese, and other products for the generality of the people in the United States. So subsidy in itself is not a bad thing. The problem is how is it applied and how is it managed. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, if I may say, the management of the fuel subsidy was very bad.
Yeah,
very
which
poor.
we'll go to, exactly.
Yes.
All right. Now, our second tidbit was on the CBN, forging the signature of the president. You are an associate, certified, member of the Association of Certified Accountants of England and Wales.
Yes.
This is not a mean feat. Is it our forensic,
I think
this thing is faulty, or where is the problem?
I think this is an operational failure.
Okay.
Because it beats our imagination that such amount of money
6
could
million
be removed
yeah.
from CBN using a forged signature. Isn't there any means of confirming such level of removal, even from the office of the secretary to the government? Couldn't anybody confirm those signatures? How is it that based on just a memo and a signature on a memo, if that is what happened, that such an amount of money could be removed from the corpus of the CBN? There must be proper guidelines in any financial transaction that involves government.
The accountant of CBN branch,
yes.
he was there last week.
Yeah.
He said all the documents, tendered, he saw them.
Yes.
Meaning that maybe there is complicity at the highest level.
Unless that, because if there is, then it means they are trying to do this with the knowledge of those who are supposed to be able to confirm the validity of that signature or the validity of that expenditure. Because in any, removal of money, there are two things.
Okay.
One, purpose. Okay. Is that valid purpose for which that money is removed? Was there any approval for that purpose? Forget about even the attempt to remove the money. First of all, we must be sure that the purpose for which that money is removed is clearly authorized and clearly approved. Because I'm sure General Buhari did not sign any check.
Yeah,
or
as attested to by the SGF boss.
Exactly. He didn't sign any check or any. So how is the request from the offices of government to the CBN, how are they moved to be able to transact a withdrawal or a deposit of money? There must be a proper guidelines for such things to occur. And there must be some people who, even, a common company account, some of the banks, must have to call the person who signed the check to approve that he is the one who's actually authorized. They normally get a confirmation, even when everything is correctly presented and, to the bank, they will have to call the signatories of the check to confirm.
All right.
Was that thing done? If it is done, then whoever confirmed the signatories of the check is going to be caught liable for this transaction
we'll continue
to occur.
watch. Now, finally, the Minister of Agriculture, Abubakar Kari, and the Minister of Information.
Yes.
You know, last week, of course, they announced that they are going to release tons of grains. Now they say it's going to be free. Will it get to the downtrodden?
Yes, because you see, it was even in our own paper, which we suggest that definitely there is a need now for government to release food stuff from the strategic reserve, if any. Even if we don't have enough, we should import food at this moment for the use of Nigerians. We don't need, actually Nigerians don't need palliatives as is been proposed by government. What we need is food that is available and affordable, you know, for the generality of the Nigerian masses. Could you believe, I saw it today, that in one village, people are breaking ant hill to remove grains.
In Nigeria?
In Nigeria. Breaking ant hills to remove grains because of hunger.
Okay, you said something which caught my attention. People don't need palliative,
yes,
but available and affordable.
Yes.
But today, the minister said they are going to distribute this food for free, meaning it is like palliative. Will it work?
Well, unless there is some very, very proper supervision. And also, the distribution should be, in my opinion, at the ward level. First of all, to the local government level, and then from local government to the wards. Because these are the bottom line as far as our public are concerned. That is where you get the people who are really in need of these, grains that are going to be distributed free. If they are going to be distributed free, they must be advertised clearly that you are not to pay anything for these free grains. But mind you, there is something that the government has to be very careful in doing free distribution of food. Is it sustainable? Maybe not. So the best thing would have been to sell it at a very affordable price,
meaning
continuously,
maybe to crash the price,
so that
commodity market,
exactly, so that people who have already, put away a large amount of food stuff in their own warehouses in order to take advantage will have to bring their food stuff and sell them because the price has crashed. If, for example, a bag of rice is selling at 70,000 Naira, yes, maybe the government should come and say the bag of rice for government is now 25 or less for people to now start buying.
Meaning it will have solved the problem better
than free food, because it cannot be continuous and cannot be sustainable.
All right, thank you very much.
It could be the beginning of getting the problem resolved.
Thank you very much. Now back to our subject of discussion today, free fall of the Naira. You authored an article in the Daily Trust today.
Yes.
You said key steps to improve and protect the value of the Naira. Yes. I hope the time will permit us, because about 7 or almost 11 points. So maybe we take them one after the other.
Yes.
You said removal of fuel subsidy.
Yes.
Completely. Yes. But they have done that, but Nigeria is burning now.
Yes. You see, actually, subsidy in itself, as I have said earlier, is not a bad thing. But the problem with Nigerian oil subsidy, it has been mismanaged. Okay. I think once the fuel subsidy has been removed, the government should take an action to conduct a forensic audit of the fuel subsidy regime from the beginning to the date when the president, terminated it. So as for us to know what actually happened, who are the culprits in this mismanagement of the fuel subsidy. Mind you, this thing has been running since 1970, and there was no problem. But suddenly it continued to balloon to the level that the government is finding it increasingly difficult. In fact, it is consuming more than 40% of the government budget to be able to run the subsidy. So it was really an economic compulsion, apart from the issue of the fact that policy does not, allow for these subsidies to continue. So the issue of removal of subsidy is very important. If it was not done, this country would not have been able to pay for it this year. I can tell you, you can see how the finances of the government are getting under pressure. So the removal of the subsidy is an economic necessity at the time it was done, because their financial wherewithal to continue with it is not there, apart from the fact that it is not genuine. A lot of things that are involved in the fuel subsidy regime are not actually the case.
Now you say people are even going to excavate anthills and all that. Can we say the timing for the removal was wrong? Government did not put enabling shock absorbers that will not really, the pain will not reflect directly on the downtrodden, who are now finding it difficult to eat even once.
Yeah, the removal could have been done better. The timing is correct, but I think it could have been a gradual process of removing the subsidy in order to allow government to even know where the leakages are and how to block them. Because sudden removal without even getting to know what is the problem with the fuel subsidy. We need to know the problem and who created the problem. How could this problem be solved? All these are key factors that should have been addressed prior to the removal of the fuel subsidy. But now that it has already been done, there is no need to
go back
to cry over split milk.
Then maybe was it an overkill, the removal of the subsidy and then the floating of the Naira, which now...
Yeah, well, these twin things also make the result of what is happening today. If you mind you, the removal of the subsidy has not been accompanied by the cushions that are supposed to be there. We are supposed to see probably public transportation at a very affordable price and mass transit across the country in order to cushion the effect of rising cost of transportation and also the movement of goods from producer areas to consumer areas. Also, we have not seen that. And again, on top of that, salaries and wages are still yet to be increased.
If anything, we saw a proposal for 1 billion for the committee to discuss wages.
You see? So these are things, and then on top of that, it is only now we are trying to address the issue of cost of food stuff, the inflationary, resultant inflationary trend that is being linked to the floating of the Naira, apart from the issue of the fuel, rising cost of fuel, which now, even affect air transport, because they are crying of the cost of, aviation fuel, diesel for most of haulage, haulage cost is going up. So many things that could have been done differently to allow cushion for the smooth take-up of this removal of the subsidy. And subsidy, even if you remove fuel subsidy, there are other areas that you can subsidize. You can subsidize transport, you can subsidize food, you can subsidize healthcare, you can subsidize education for example. All these are areas that you can subsidize even manufacturing,
as
we
mentioned,
mentioned, so that employment opportunities and the import substitution industries could thrive.
But then, is it okay for an import-reliant country to float its currency?
No.
As an accountant?
Yes, it's not. You see, floating of currency in an economy that is completely import dependent is not the right thing to go and do without putting the proper, shocks that the resultant floating will affect. Because if you float the currency
as they
did, it means all our imports will continue to go up. You normally float your currency if you are also exporting, so that what you export, you earn the foreign exchange, and when you earn it at the float rate, you will generate local funding more than the way that is now a one-way traffic. Because now we are trying to get money to pay our bills, mostly airline bills, import bills, and other medical and other educational and other things, spare parts and so. Because Nigeria almost import most of what we use on a daily basis. That's why in our proposal we said the government should immediately, without taking so much time, ban all things that are manufactured locally. Anything that is manufactured locally, we should not allow it to be imported.
But how can they do that? You see, I think 3 months ago, that was when they lifted the ban on quite a number
of things. Even
products,
last week, I read that CBN has lifted more to allow more things to be imported.
So where are they getting it wrong now? Because I want to read your second point, which you have actually spoken. You say export of cash crops derived through the banking system.
Yes.
An introduction of export license to account for value exported and foreign exchange generated. Exactly. And gradually move to the establishment of agricultural export authority that will handle export of cash crops to boost foreign exchange earnings for the government. How possible now that we don't even have food to
no,
eat?
these are not food crops.
Yeah.
These are cash crops.
Yeah. Maybe you're talking about cocoa,
groundnut, ginger, sobo, and all these sesame seed and cashew nuts and things like that.
But we can't even plant rice, maize because of insecurity.
Yes.
So how can we now create a balance between this proposal and what is actually happening?
But do you know that some of these foreign companies are largest I understand one of the foreign companies, I don't want to name, is the largest exporter of cashew nuts from Nigeria. So how is he getting it? How is that company getting it? There are exporters who are exporting these cash crops.
So what you are suggesting here is that they should start doing it through the banking system.
Through the banking system.
Okay, this is your proposal.
It is right.
Because you strongly believe that as far as cash crops are concerned, they are being exported in large quantities.
Exactly.
But through the informal sector.
Informal sector. And therefore, the money that is supposed to come back to the country through the banking system is finding its way outside the banking system and is fueling the black market, which is the foreign exchange market unofficial. Because most of the people who are earning this thing, if it's not through the banking system, some of them come back with it and find its way through.
Is there a nexus? Yes. Then is there a nexus between this outside the formal sector business using the dollar or whatever, and the inability of the government to bridge the parallel and the formal windows. Yeah.
Exactly. Because no matter what the government does, as far as these leakages are not blocked, you know, people exporting our commonwealth without returning or without accounting for what they have earned from the export. And in fact, I can tell you, it's very difficult for even the central bank or the government now to tell you how much are we earning from exported agricultural commodities. Because the people, everybody can just wake up and start exporting things without following due process.
But how simple will it be to now force or cajole exporters?
Yes, the only way to do it is probably the government to introduce an export license regime, so that anybody who is exporting anything outside Nigeria is known what he is exporting, the value of what he is exporting is known, the quantity is known, so that whenever he exports through the banking system, whatever he earns will come through the banking system. And central bank will have access to these foreign exchange. Because look, the problem of Nigeria is illiquidity of the foreign exchange. We are short of foreign exchange earning. We are not producing enough to export petroleum. We are below our maximum production as far as OPEC level is concerned. And on top of that, most of the agricultural commodities that we are exporting from Nigeria is not coming back through the banking system. So these are things that really have to be addressed, because the moment you increase the foreign exchange earning of the government, even through commercialization, example of solid mineral, this is an area that is grossly untapped. Today, if we can be able to get this going and also couple with the level of production of our petroleum, exported petroleum, and also another key thing which we have to do is to be able to plot a national airline.
All right, yes, we'll come to that. Yeah, you also mentioned it here, but we'll go on a short break.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
We'll be back shortly.
Thank you.
Don't go away. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. If you are just joining, you are watching Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow the conversation across our social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. We still have in the studio Kabiru Alaji Ameroni. He's a fellow of the Chartered Association of Certified Accountants of England and Wales and former resident electoral commissioner of INEC in Abuja and Niger State. Welcome back to the
Thank you very much.
Yes, your thoughts and 4 points,
yes,
which we publish. One is setting up a national airline carrier to stem or reduce of foreign exchange to foreign airlines. But the third one was on textile trade from import to manufacturing. Buhari tried it. He failed through Hadi Sirika. Tinubu is now trying to actually probe what happened. And you saw the comedy on the day the government was to end, or I think on the eve, when an airline was brought from Addis, painted in Nigeria.
Very shameful.
Are we going to get anything different?
Well, yes, I think, you see, first of all, let me talk about the textiles.
Yes, which is the thought.
If you look at Nigerians, we have a knack for foreign textiles materials. Or you hardly can visit any house or any community or any state without seeing big shops stacked with foreign imported textiles. Before this position that we are currently facing, Nigeria used to be a textile exporter to West Africa region. We have so many thriving textile factories within the Kano and Kaduna axis, even within the Lagos axis. Things are being produced and exported and consumed locally. But suddenly, our knack for foreign textiles continue to climb. climb. Today, most of the money that is bought through the Bureau de Change, I can tell you, is bought by importers of textile materials.
So government should cut that window.
Exactly.
Completely.
That
but
window.
Then maybe people will start moving naked because the textile industries you are talking about are
That's why I say gradual. If you look at it, I say repositioning textile trade from import to manufacturing. Banning textile import on gradual basis. We have to do it on gradual basis and encouraging textile production locally. Many countries have done it, and they have succeeded. I cannot see why Nigeria cannot do it. Do you know some of the atamfa we now buy? They are from Ivory Coast, Ghana, and our neighboring countries.
Places.
Of all places, they are producing and exporting to Nigeria. Because we have a very large market, anybody that can set up this kind of industries, the market is there waiting for them if the quality is right and the price is right.
Then what should government do, maybe before the midterm or long term?
Yes.
To maybe kickstart.
Yes.
Even if it is 10% of the existing textiles that are not functioning.
Yes. First of all,
is it to subsidize diesel for them or to provide, to complete the AKT?
Yes. If you look at it, I said we have to protect the local manufacturing base through necessary incentives plus power supply. We have to develop industrial parks where power could be supplied 24/7 for them to be able to operate. Because look, as long as we are running away from manufacturing and we are now relying on trade for our consumption, Nigeria will not see the light.
Will remain the way it is.
Nigeria will not see the light of the day. We must embrace local manufacturing of things that we can do in Nigeria. There is no need to continue consuming what we cannot produce.
But if we cannot produce at all, people must, you have to live by the day. People must consume.
I agree, but there are so many things that you can do without. For example, there are factories that are manufacturing soaps today, bath soaps and so on. But go to any of the supermarket, you will see the Nigerian-made soaps stuck to the limit. Nobody is looking at them because you have the brands from Europe, from America, that is costing higher, but because they are available, people will go for them who can afford. And then those who cannot afford, will have to go without
pay through their noses. Okay, so, number 7 here, you mentioned BDC reform.
Yes.
The current BDC's licenses should be revoked, recalled immediately. The government, that CBN, should advertise and license companies that can operate forex dealers with a minimum deposit of 500 million. How do you mean?
You see, most of the problem with the Naira today, I can tell you, has to do with the black marketeering, which is coming through. Even though you say BDCs, they have so many agents running around. It's only in Nigeria that you see people hawking the national currency on the street.
Only you don't see it.
You don't see it in any other places, And this is because we do not have a proper guidelines as to how the BDCs should operate. I have seen it in many countries. Most of the BDCs or forex windows, they are at the airports and in some malls across the hotels, which means they are targeted to tourists and other visitors to the country who will come with their money and may want to change it at a slightly better rate than the bank rate for them to be able to get, quick money.
Not like Zolfo that we have in Abuja or Wapa.
Because you can get more Naira than if you go to the official rate. And then when you are going, you can now offload your local currency within the Bureau de Change system. And mind you, it's only in Nigeria that we don't know what is the limit that Bureau de Change can transact locally. That because we have seen Bureau de Change fueling wealth conversion, which means if I have a lot of Naira, I will go and convert that into dollars and keep. Wealth conversion is widely done through the Bureau de Change. Laundering of drug money and so on, which cannot go through the banking system, they go to the black market and buy foreign exchange at any price. That will fuel the rate to go up. And then you have also funds that are illegally acquired that the people don't want to go through the banking system, will rather go to the Bureau de Change and change them at any price so that they can hide what they have taken illegally. So unless we now say, look, foreign, this Bureau de Change can only participate in A, B, C, and D. Small amount, not more than $500 per person per day, and for a purpose that is being approved by the CBN. If you need to import anything, go through the banking system. If what you are importing is allowed and legally permitted, you will be given foreign exchange to import it.
So you believe if we do this, the value of the Naira...
Yes, you will reduce the demand through the secondary window, which is fueling the exchange rate to go higher and higher. And that is why the government is trying to now merge. Is becoming more and more difficult.
They are not getting it.
They are not, because the problem is that supply is critical. There is no adequate supply of the foreign exchange. And mind you, we cannot run a foreign exchange regime based on borrowing and funding.
Just the way they are now pumping borrowed money into it will not solve the problem.
No. It will just be a continuous thing. What we need is to work hard and generate foreign exchange clearly through ways and means that are very clear. Export our own solid mineral, export our
which is
oil.
The ninth point here. You said
exactly.
that government should identify and target key and important sectors of the economy such as power, agro-allied, mining, and water resources with a bit rolling out incentives.
Exactly.
The federal government is holding forth to, exploration of solid minerals. That it has the sole control, and nothing is happening. Even though the Dele Alake, who is the new minister, is trying to maybe change the modus.
It is an area that the government should exploit, as soon as possible, so that we can be able to upscale our foreign exchange earnings. And then we must also try and produce our quota for the OPEC quota in order to be able to, increase the supply of the foreign currency. Because, you see, there are two things that you need to do. Your foreign reserve and your current account. There are two things that determines or, look at the value of your currency. That determines the value of your currency in terms of how able are you to pay for your imports if today all of them become due.
But just 3 days ago, they said Nigeria's foreign reserve will even go down.
It's going down because we are continuously, depleting it. And so to speak, because we are paying for things that really we shouldn't. Why should we be funding? Or go to the supermarkets. You will see for yourself the kind of thing, even toothpicks and so many things that really have no reason of importing. I don't know whether they are imported legally or illegally, but why should we be funding, keeping industries outside the country working for us to buy their goods and consume, and killing our local industries and generating unemployment for our people, poverty, and the hunger to continue in the land. We must have to look at these things critically and take hard decisions. The airline, which I said, is not a political decision, it's an economic decision. Look at the amount of money that Nigeria owed to the airlines. Annually, continuously, because Nigerians travel a lot. If we do have our national airlines or expand and encourage our local airlines to be attractive enough for our people to patronize, people will shun the foreign airlines.
It's impossible to do it. They said if any other thing that has input of government will rarely survive.
No, listen, anywhere today we have British Airways. It started as a British-owned company, but it generated to become an independent, company. But mind you, most of these national airlines are being subsidized from the back door for them to keep them afloat. Emirates Airlines, in the Middle East, most of the Middle Eastern airlines are grossly subsidized for them to be able to compete without making noise about it. So there is nothing wrong for Nigeria to have a foreign airline initially that can be transferred to a privately owned companies. But we must start big, with about 30 airplanes to deploy maybe about 10 to 15 to international routes, some of them to local routes, and then to the West African routes. They are still very, very, very lucrative. And if we have a national airline, some people will even, patronize us, and it can be a source of foreign exchange earning for the country. It's not a political decision. It's an economic decision.
That must be done.
That should be done.
Why are you in love, let me put it this way, with digital currency and the like should be should be suspended.
Suspended.
For now.
For now. Because you see, so many trading is going on through the portals, and the internet, with this crypto. And even if they take the Naira, they will eventually have to, because it's traded in dollars. There is no cryptocurrency or any digital currency that is traded in Naira.
Why? Is it that the Naira is so weak that they don't really...
In fact, digital currencies normally are traded in exchange rates that are strong, currencies that are very strong, And therefore, if we are to allow, because, these digital currencies, they are new things. Now to the country. And people are embarrassing it because of the kind of risk and returns that are there. But the government has to look at it to see whether foreign exchange earnings is going through that or some of the markets are funding the informal market, which is the secondary market, is funding such kind of transactions. We have to look at them very critically and see that they do not affect the good work that the government is doing to bring down, the rate of exchange to an affordable level that probably should keep the country running.
Another thing you mentioned is the export of food crops for whatever reason should be suspended.
Yes.
And any company or person or group of persons caught should be severely punished. If we are exporting, if they are bringing foreign currency, you must sought after dollar. What is wrong in exporting the food items?
No, food items should not be exported. Cash crops, yes. But food, I have just told you what is happening in the land. There is a lot of hunger and need. People need to eat. There is no, food is becoming increasingly difficult for people to afford. In fact, instead of being a necessity, it is becoming a luxury to some people.
Very sad.
So it's not good, and is not is something that the government must do something quickly to address. And I think they have started to do something in the right direction. But definitely we have to stop exporting food crops.
Maybe in the interim?
Not even in the interim, until we attain food sufficiency, which at the moment we have not. If we have attained food sufficiency, you will not be getting these wild prices for even gari that is now selling at close to 2,000 naira per mudu. It has never happened in this country. Not to talk of, sorghum, maize and sugar and other staple foods that are going, out of the rooftop.
So if you are to summarize,
yes,
on especially the immediate measures, what will you say federal government must do, state government must do, and local government in summary?
Yes, in summary, I think, first of all, the federal government must expand our foreign exchange earning capacity. Expand foreign exchange earning capacity. Number one, reduce our consumption of foreign exchange in whatever way possible.
Okay.
You have to bring down because you can't consume what you have very little of continuously. So we have to expand the base of our foreign exchange earning and then reduce our consumption.
We should just start with this.
Yes.
Then what about securing farmlands so that people
then secondly, we must improve security.
Okay.
Because for food production to thrive, there must be security for farmers to go to farm. And for them to go to farm, there must be security. Then number three, there must be economic price for farm produce to enable to allow the farmer to continue going to farm what he brings to the market.
Okay.
The price of what he brings to the market must be something that is economically sustainable, that can allow him to continue to produce. Because, for example, I can tell you, if, for example,
because we are rounding up.
Yes, if a ton of groundnuts at the international market is selling at maybe, for example, $2,000 per ton, there is nothing wrong if we have an export authority in place to buy from the farmer at maybe $1,500 per ton. Because once that groundnut is exported, the government will earn about $500 per ton.
And you have protected
and
the
you
farmer.
have protected the farmer, and the farmer will continue to go to farm.
All right, thank you very much. I wish we have more time to
Yes.
offer these suggestions, but time not on our side.
No problem.
We really thank you for coming.
Thank you very
Kabiru
much.
Alaji Ameroni, Fellow of the Chartered Association of Certified Accountants of England and Wales, former resident electoral commissioner of INEC in Abuja and Niger State, for coming to the program. And we hope to have you again.
Thank you very much for having me.
That's a wrap on today's package. We hope you found the conversation engaging and informative. And be sure to join Daily Politics airing live every weekday and our special package on Friday, during which we open the telephone line for you to comment on national issues. We thank you for being with us. Join us tomorrow for another interesting package. Bye-bye for now. I'm Hamza Idris.